Before the flood, something left heaven. It didn't ask permission. This is the war above. Dispatch 3. The flood story starts in Genesis chapter 6. But before the rain, before the ark, the chapter opens with 4 strange verses. Just 4. And they are the reason the flood happened. Most people read past them in about 10 seconds. The ancient world could not. Listen to what the text actually says. Now, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took as wives whomever they chose. Whomever they chose. No asking, no covenant, taking. And then, verse 4, the verse that launched 3,000 years of argument. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and afterward as well, when the sons of God had relations with the daughters of men, and they bore them children, who became the mighty men of old, men of renown, sons of God, daughters of men, and children who were something else. So, everything hangs on one question. Who are the sons of God? There's a safe answer. You may have heard it. The sons of God were just the godly line of Seth. Ordinary men from a good family marrying ordinary women from a bad one. Nothing supernatural. Nothing to see. There's one problem with the safe answer. The Bible never says it. The text says nothing about Seth's family, nothing about anyone's family. And everywhere else, the Hebrew Bible uses this phrase, B'nai Elohim. It means one thing, divine beings, the staff of God's own court. In the book of Job, God speaks out of a whirlwind and asks, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth, while the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy?" The sons of God were shouting for joy at creation. There were no humans yet to shout. Whatever these beings are, they are not somebody's family line, and ordinary marriages do not produce mighty men of renown. Here's the part they don't tell you. The earliest readers, the Jewish scholars before Jesus, the first Christians after him, read it exactly this way. Divine beings crossed a boundary. The safe reading came centuries later. And the New Testament? It never got the memo about being safe. For if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them deep into hell, placing them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment, and the angels who did not stay within their own domain, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in eternal chains, under darkness, bound for judgment on that great day. Did not stay within their own domain. That's the crime. Not a war in heaven, a border crossing. The ancient Jewish world told this story with a location attached. In the Book of Enoch, not scripture, but the commentary the whole ancient world knew, the rebels have a name and a meeting point. 200 of them, called Watchers. The same title Daniel uses for the holy ones who carry the decrees of God's counsel. Beings with a post, a domain, a job, watch over humanity. Instead, they descended on a mountain on the northern border of the land, Mount Hermon, and swore an oath together, so that no one of them could back out alone. All in, all guilty. If you think the Bible's authors didn't know that story, Jude, the brother of James, quotes Enoch by name. Enoch, the seventh from Adam, also prophesied about them. Behold, the Lord is coming with myriads of his holy ones, to execute judgment on everyone, and to convict all the ungodly of every ungodly act of wickedness, and every harsh word spoken against him by ungodly sinners. Remember the mountain, Hermon, is not done in this story, not even close. The children of the crossing were called Nephilim. the mighty men of old, men of renown. Culture after culture tells the same epic, half-divine warriors, larger than life, taking whatever they want. The Bible looks at those heroes and calls them evidence. Something real happened, and it was not good news, because listen to the very next verse, verse 5. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great upon the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was altogether evil all the time. The flood is not a separate story. The flood is the response. But the text leaves 3 words sitting there, like a lit fuse. And afterward, as well, the waters came. The story didn't drown. Centuries later, Israel stands at the edge of the promised land. 12 spies go in, 10 come back broken. The land we explored devours its inhabitants, and all the people we saw there are great in stature. We even saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Enoch that come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own sight, and we must have seemed the same to them. Grasshoppers. An entire generation turned around in the desert because of what was waiting in the land. And where do the giant clans make their last stand? The Rephaim, Og, king of Bashan, the last of their kings. Bashan, the territory at the foot, Mount Hermon. The conquest of Canaan wasn't just a war for real estate. In the Bible's own geography, Israel was marching into the shadow of the mountain where the whole thing began. The nations had their rebel gods. The land had their offspring. And Israel, Yahweh's own portion, was sent in to finish it. The Watchers crossed a line once. They're in chains now, under darkness, bound for judgment on that great day. But everything after Genesis 6, the flood, the desert, the wars in the land, is heaven answering one trespass. The war above touches the earth. It always has. This is The War Above. Subscribe. The story isn't over.